Who's under more pressure this weekend, Lamar or Cam?
Fellas. Cam Newton is absolutely under more pressure this weekend. Lamar is playing for his reputation. Cam Newton's playing for salvation. Like Lamar is playing so that people don't think that he can only run the football, so that people think that he's a well-rounded quarterback. Lamar's just playing for the reputation of some people who are already predisposed to be biased. Cam Newton's playing to save his career, the entirety of it. Marcellus, Cam Newton has played, we'll call it 2 good games this season, would you say?
Yeah.
Marcellus, who was Cam Newton's best game against, sir? Please remind me.
Seattle?
Cam Newton, 397 yards against the Seattle Seahawks.
What do I win?
Seattle Seahawks. The worst historical defense passing-wise in the history of the NFL. That is who Cam Newton's best performance was against. Who else was Cam Newton's best performance against?
The Jets?
The Jets. The worst collective team in the last 2 decades, statistically, even worse than those Lions that y'all know about. So I apologize if I can't praise Cam Newton, the Cam Newton that I love, Cam Newton that I hold near and dear to my heart. I apologize if I can't praise Cam Newton if his best performances have been against marginal defenses and marginal teams. Cam Newton is under more pressure because he is playing for a whole lot more.
So the consequences is why Cam Newton's under more pressure.
Yes, sir.
I disagree with you, but I like your reasoning. It's Lamar Jackson because the consequences. Guess what? Our goals does not include losing to the New England Patriots with Cam Newton right now, as bad as they're performing in terms of us and our Super Bowl aspirations. So if we're looking forward, one thing we can't do as being number 2 in the NFL in point differential is lose to a lowly team, as you just explained. Our consequences are greater because our ceiling is higher. We're supposed to do more this year. Not so much about an individual competition, Lamar versus Cam. Cam's going to be fine even if he flames out this year because the Patriots could franchise him. Patriots could bring him back on a short deal. Or, as Jay Glazer even said, there are going to be suitors for Cam Newton's services because of the lack of weapons in New England. So if you look at Lamar Jackson, after winning a unanimous MVP on his second time in NFL history, what did he say his goal was this year? Got to win in the playoffs, big dog. Well, before you can win in the playoffs, you got to win in the regular season and take care of those you're supposed to take care of. That's why there's pressure more on not only Lamar, but these Baltimore Ravens. They're a better team than the Patriots, and you have to handle business.
They are a better team than the Patriots, and there's a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson. The pressure stems from the fact that everyone has seen his numbers regress a little bit as a passer, down in completion percentage, down yards per attempt, down passing yards per game. And so you're just wondering, hey, was that MVP season just a bit of a fluke when it came to the passing part of his offense? And then you're hearing the whispers that were really put out there by Lamar Jackson himself. Hey, I come to the line of scrimmage, the defense, they're calling out our plays. What are we to do? I just wonder. And so the pressure is Lamar Jackson. Now that everyone knows, everyone has seen you kind of go around the league a couple of times, what is the next trick that you have up your sleeve? How can you continue to evolve your game to continue to be this unstoppable force that we fell in love with a season ago? And so when we think about the New England Patriots and the reputation that the Patriots have always had, what the Patriots do, they reveal your warts to you. And so how do they prepare for the Baltimore Ravens offense? How do they prepare for Lamar Jackson? The way that they defend the Baltimore Ravens will tell us a lot about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And so he has the pressure of having to show us that he has taken his game up a notch because everyone knows the next frontier for the Ravens is to be able to advance in the postseason.
But fellas, how are we going to say that Lamar is under more pressure when we're trying to figure out is Lamar as great as he was during his MVP campaign? That's what we're trying to decipher. Well, Lamar last year was the best passer from a clean pocket, better than Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. He's not the best anymore. Like, that's what we're trying to decipher. We're trying to decipher is Cam Newton still a competent quarterback?
Damn.
Like, we're arguing vastly different things, gentlemen. Can we show my full screen?
You got another one?
Can we show my full
Another one?
Yeah, I got one. DJ Khaled for y'all. Because, Bucky, if you don't mind looking at this, Cam Newton has 4 consecutive starts without a passing touchdown. Well, we saw that with Daniel Jones. Saw that with Josh Rosen, don't even know where he is now. Saw that with Deshaun Kaiser, also don't know where he is now. And we saw that with Robert Griffin. He's currently backing up that man, Lamar Jackson. Fellas, Cam Newton has given us historically poor quarterback performances. Lamar Jackson, we're just mad that he hasn't given us his same historically great quarterback performance. Lamar is not under more pressure than Cameron Newton. It is obvious.
Wow, you really are going there like you're looking at the high jumper that sets a world record, and then the next week you're like, hey, yo, if you don't beat that, if you don't do and clear that bar, then guess what? You're falling off.
That's what y'all doing.
No, Lamar Jackson is a unanimous MVP.
Correct.
There's only two ever. So you keep talking about and exaggerating his fall off from last year when only thing I see is he's averaging 41 fewer yards in terms of rush and pass yards combined. Other than that, same amount of wins. 12 touchdowns last year, 12 touchdowns this year, 5 and 4. So Lamar in this situation is not feeling the pressure of his individual. You try to compare the individual. I'm talking about Lamar in his situation, why he's got to feel this pressure. He's under pressure because he has to win in the playoffs. And to get the confidence and to get them rolling, guess what? We got to do something going forward.
What does the playoffs got to do with November?
Because you got to take care
against the
first of all, in seeding, in confidence, whatever you want to look forward to, you need to help yourself right now.
Talking about seeding.
If you're better than a team, how about this, Acho? If you're better than somebody, shouldn't you just beat them? And isn't there pressure on you to actually do that?
Minimal. But
No, you ain't going to last long anywhere if you don't do what's expected. You can go out there and say, I want to do more than expectations. But first order of business is make sure you handle business.
Bucky, give some confidence to Marcellus's argument. I ain't buying this seeding and confidence.
Well, look, I mean, I understand the pressure on Lamar Jackson. The thing that I always wonder, how come you never pull out no full screens on Carson Wentz when we're arguing that?
Man,
like you talk about,
it get quiet on the set, don't
it? You don't even bring anything out. I don't get any of that support or any of those bells and whistles when you do Carson Wentz. But let me get back on point.
Don't worry.
With Lamar Jackson, the pressure is on him just because the conversation continues to grow. He has to continue to answer these questions whenever he doesn't have an A-level performance. And I will say this. He's won 25 games in his first 30 starts, tying him with Dan Marino as the most ever by a guy during that time period.
Yes.
And so the pressure is, look, everyone understands the Baltimore Ravens are one of the teams that can seriously compete for the Super Bowl. The biggest question that they have about the team is the quarterback going to be able to take his game up a notch when it matters? And the only way he can answer some of those questions is to do it in these big games in the regular season. But still, the pressure will continue to kick up until he gets into the postseason and does it and handles his business. But still, he has to show people that he can win against a defensive mastermind. And Bill Belichick, they want to see, can he show improve? That's why the pressure is on him more so than Cam Newton, because people are saying the Patriots are sorry, to use your word.
Yeah, I think that what's happening is my man Acho is thinking about more pressure, basically, and it's conflating that with who has more to gain and who has more to lose. Who has more to gain in this game? Gain in this game is Cam Newton. Duh. Like, if I beat the Baltimore Ravens and I'm the New England Patriots and I got 6 undrafted wide receivers I'm throwing the ball to, you got more to gain. But who has more to lose? The guy who has more pressure on him is Lamar Jackson. If you go out there and lose to the Patriots with all of the stats that you just showed and full screens of how they're looking inept this year, and he loses to that team and he's talking about, I have to go and win in the playoffs, people will pause the playoff conversation and intensify all the criticism on Lamar Jackson in this moment. So for me, it's simple. Who has the most to lose is the one that's dealing with the most pressure. Lamar Jackson.